Hi there everybody and welcome to another RowAlong daily workout. And I've been doing these for the past 8 months or so, and for a good reason that I do these every single weekday morning. It's because they're so good for you, all right? If you can fit in these low intensity, low stroke rate workouts where you just get your heart rate up a bit, your breathing rate up a bit, fit in the 21 minutes worth of rowing. I then do a 4-minute cool down, which you can join me for, or you can just continue rowing at the pace you were doing. Then it really is good for you, okay? This is what builds up your foundation fitness, whether that's for rowing or just for life. It's just so valuable, all right? I feel like this is a hidden gem that people just don't know about. It's just, and if nothing else, there's nothing hard that you go through this. The hardest part is putting up with my chat. That's what I always say. This should just feel like you're just sitting down and just kind of breezing through 25 minutes, and then you can get on with the rest of your day. There is a little bit of stretching at the end, which again, you can join me for, but that's kind of what we're doing. So we're gonna get into this workout, gonna get our machine set up, start rowing, and we'll get on with our day. So let's go to drag factor, resistance, whatever you have on your rowing machine, because you don't have to do it in the Concept 2. Any rowing machine is going to work for this. Set it to a point where you feel nicely connected to the stroke. You can feel it, but you don't have to tug and heave with your arms first. Power should be coming from your legs, not from your arms. For the seat, sit more towards the front of the seat and more towards the front of your backside rather than the back of the seat and the back of the backside. I want you to think about tilting hips forwards. And if you're sitting up on your sit bones, then that's how you're able to tilt hips forwards as you come into the front, and then tilt hip backwards as you come to the back, rocking forwards, rocking backwards. And that's where posture helps. So the difference between sitting down all slumped, which has my hips rolled backwards, and then sitting up a bit more kind of primed, that then it's all about turning your hips forwards at this point to kind of sit up. You can practice that. If you actually put your thumbs on your hips, you'll feel that happening. And you go, oh, that's what's going on, right? Good tip. So foot stretcher height, set them to a point where you can come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. Now the ballpark here is that the straps cover the balls of your feet, and then you can adjust from that point for comfort. As a guide, I'm in barefoot shoes today, which have a little bit of rubber on the bottom. I've got size 10 feet and I'm on a setting of 4. If I was in running shoes, I'd be on a setting of 5, and bare feet, I'd be a setting of 3. All right, so adjust as necessary. Finally, the handle, let's grab that, or hold on to that, sorry, on a shoulder width, with fingers hooked over the handle. As you can see, when my thumbs are underneath, just loose, there's space here because I'm hooked over the handle, rather than narrow and choking the life out of it and, oh, you've been a naughty handle. That's my OnlyFans page, isn't it? Right, I was so professional up until that point, wasn't I? I mean, that was, oh. So let's get going into our row. So I'm gonna start off with really gentle intensity, just pressing my feet into the machine, all right? So here we go then, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So this is just about connection. And like I've said, I think pretty much this week, like the past, this and the previous 4 workouts, I've really been talking about how using this very gentle, just pressing your feet into the machine rather than jamming your feet in as fast as you can, gives you the space to not only gradually warm up. I'll probably, over the period of like the next, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, I'll gradually increase by about, well, where are we now? About 5 seconds more as I get into the better positions. But this is about not adding too many elements to cope with. And the moment you start adding in power, there's a lot happening physiologically or physically, or whatever the right way to say that is. Whereas right now, all we're working on is pushing feet. At the same time, hands bite, connect to the flywheel, okay? Now, just take a moment and think about it, because there's lots of people who pull early and would swear blind that they are pushing their feet at the same time. Or there are people who come into the front and then push a little early and their backside escapes before they connect to the handle. I mean, listen, I was like that I've had a terrible butt scoot for a long time. I'm still working on it. And I would have put all my money on red to say, no, I'm connecting properly here. What are you on about? So just feel, even if you close your eyes, come in. Do you feel your muscles and your legs engage? at the point your fingers brace against the handle. Because that's the other thing to say, is we're not pulling at the front, we're bracing against the handle. Your arms, as you come forwards, should be relaxed but straight. Okay, so nice and relaxed, straight. And then as you push your feet into the machine, into the foot plates, the position of your arms shouldn't change. If you drop your arms as you push, that's not ideal. If you raise your arms, that's not really ideal either. Or if you bend your elbows, that's all ways that you are breaking the link of power from your feet to your arms. So again, take a look at your arms as you come forwards. Are you bending your elbows too soon? Are you lifting the handle up? I saw a video went up by someone else. I do quite enjoy watching other videos of like rowing influencers, let's say. And there was someone who, because I used to, if you look back to the previous, like, I'd say before 2023 maybe, 24 videos that I made, I used to row on a grey concept too. And that had a tiny piece of red tape up at the top of the chain guard, or chain return, as a kind of guide for where I want the chain to go past in and out from. And somebody put a video up a couple of weeks ago doing something similar, but with a lot more tape. And it just got confusing. They had tape for the handle height, which is okay, apart from the fact they weren't hitting the handle height. And then two more pieces on the kind of the, what would you call that? Crossbar? The bit that says concept 2 that rises up to the flywheel. And that was meant to be like how far you got with the handle for the perfect catch position. But you can't gauge that when that's down on the rail and your handle is passing across the top of it. You need to be looking straight down for that. So anyway. It's much better to be thinking about, as you come into the front of the machine, having straight arms and that forwards tilt that I was talking about during the setup. Tilt forwards over your hips, straight arms, good posture, rolling in until shins vertical. And then straight arms, forwards tilt, shins vertical is your kind of optimum compression when it comes to rolling into the front. And the only other thing really that you can add when it comes to reach, getting more length, is what you're doing with your shoulders. So what you want to be doing is extending out through your shoulders, not rounding your upper back, but allowing your shoulders to come forwards. The opposite, so other things you can do with the shoulders. Up in your neck, okay, and really close. This is uncomfortable. If you suffer from neck pain, this is likely why, okay? In fact, there's an almighty crack in my neck as I even went into that position. So that's kind of the worst thing that you could be doing with your shoulders. But there's also people who just row everything set back like this. The shoulders are, it's almost like your shoulder blades are squeezed together the whole time. Shoulders are set all the way back. And you can see, even though I have straight arms and I am sliding to shins vertical and I have that forwards tilt. My hands are nowhere near as close to the front of the machine because everything's set backwards. But if I allow my shoulders to now come, I'd say it's kind of like come out of the sockets, really, but that sounds like I've desiccated my shoulders. But now, it's not just about reach, it's also about that hang off the handle. The power is just flowing through my body, through my bones, ligaments, rather than fighting it by being all tense at the back. If you are tense and holding shoulders back, you might as well be pulling early from the front, because I'm trying to think of analogy as how muscles actually get in your way. For the drive anyway, the only muscles you should be using are your legs. You switch on your core, but you're still not, it's not like you're getting punched in the stomach. The only power generator at the start of the stroke is your leg muscles. Everything else is just set up to allow the power to come through and for you to hang off the handle. And then as you push through, there becomes a point when your legs will fade, and about halfway through the leg drive is where that max power starts to fade. And so that's when you swing your back to add in power from the mass of your upper body moving backwards. And then as your legs continue to fade and your backswing starts to fade, it's at that point that you finally pull your arms into a finish to squeeze some extra power out. And that's when you squeeze those shoulder blades together. Then you release your arms, nice and straight, sit up, tilt forwards, and then once your hands are past your knees, you can bend your knees to roll to the front again, ready for the next stroke. And there we go. So, like I said, talking through technique, working on connection and stuff, I've gone from a 225 gentle opening down to 215, which is still a very gentle, easy pace, but this is, or depending on what your training is and all that kind of stuff, this is still incredibly effective. My heart rate's up, my breathing rate is up, I can feel my muscles working. It doesn't have to be an eye bleeding workout to be effective. And that's where you roll in your personal circumstance. So ordinarily, I would be rowing these as a wake up first thing in the morning, which it is right now. That's not changed. But as a primer, well, a primer, but also an offset for the fact I'm about to spend the next 4 hours sitting at a desk, but also a kind of a primer for lunchtime maneuvers where I should be training my 2K plan. But over the past kind of 8 months I've been doing these, I've been either running or skiing at ski erg or indoor bike or whatever at lunch. So these are just kind of You know when you've got something on simmer, you're making some chili, or in fact, no, what's he saying? It's a Friday. Friday's spaghetti bolognese day in my house. So I've made my ragu, my spaghetti, my bolognese sauce, and it's on simmer. But every now and then I have to come and just give it a quick stir around. Stops it from sticking, allows things to mix together, helps to improve the overall taste. And that is kind of what these morning rows are to me most of the time. I'm not adding anything particularly special to my bolognese, but I'm refining it and making it better by doing these. And then I can allow the workouts later in the day to be the final stir of basil through it or something. I've lost my analogy at this point, but hopefully you get what I mean. Right now, I am still coming off the end of this head cold, and so all I've been doing this week in terms of exercise is these 21+4 workouts in the morning. I haven't been doing my afternoon row or evening weights. I've just done these to keep moving, especially because I'm at the desk all day. But apart from that, I've allowed my body to just take care of trying to shift this cold. And not like previously in RowAlong, if I had a cold and I had something to train for, I'd just train through it. Be like, I don't have time to be ill. I'm going to keep going. But usually that ends up with me having a secondary chest infection. So this time round I thought I'd be a bit more sensible. Take a week to recover, and then hopefully, so it's Friday like I said, hopefully tomorrow I'll return to doing some more training. I'm still just going to take today as well. I might as well, like I say, because I've got these in my legs, I don't feel quite as guilty about not adding in the main training session for the day. And so you can also use it for just core fitness. Maybe for you, 21 minutes plus 4 minutes cool down, but frankly, that's long enough. And so just doing these every day, finding 25 minutes, maybe half an hour to go through this workout, it's perfect for you. You don't need to do anything else. In which case, these will sit perfectly for you. You might want to add in a little bit of spice every now and then, like maybe alternate days where one day you hold this pace the whole way through, and then the next day you spend 90 seconds rowing nice and easy, and then 30 seconds doing power strokes. But let's do that. The 2 strokes, one more. So hold your stroke rate, and then push as hard as you can. Holding 20 strokes a minute. So now you are pushing hard with the legs as though you're trying to jump up, but you're keeping your arms straight. Swinging halfway through the leg drive, pulling at the back. One more. All right. So you can do that. Just 90 seconds easy, 30 seconds max power at the same stroke rate. And just go through the 21 minutes that way. And that way, you will get the power workout up, you will get your cardio up, but it won't be like I'm asking you to row 30 strokes a minute at a really fast pace and you're kind of clinging on for dear life. Or maybe you are coming back to training. I got an email this morning from Joe, who is in the 70 to 74 age bracket, used to row, but has been beset with a bunch of health issues. But the doctor's given him the all clear to start rowing again. And that in itself is impressive. I can only imagine the amount of people who would hit that age bracket, hit the health problems, and be like, oh well, that's it for me, no more rowing. Whereas he's like, right, I want to enter the 2027 World Champs and win them. Like, crikey, all right. And so he's asking what workouts to do. And oh, there's eFitness. I wondered where you were. And so I suggested, I'm like, well, if you're only just coming back to rowing, the first thing you need to build up is your foundation fitness, your ability to have that strong foundation for everything else to build on top of. And listen, I know what I'm talking about. I've been here before. I've come back from illness or injury or just a prolonged period away, even taking those 2 weeks or almost 3 weeks away in Italy. When I came back, I knew that I'd be able to sit down and do like a Tabata workout and probably hold the same paces. So Tabata workout is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 8 times. Rest 2 minutes, do it again. Rest 2 minutes, do it again. And the point is you do that absolutely flat out, okay? There's no pace guide. You're just putting in as much power and at as high a stroke rate as you can. And when done right, it's just awful in that kind of awful but I love it way. And so I know or knew that when I came back, I would be able to sit down and do like the first maybe 2 rounds. Hang on, I'm going to do one more stroke, then back off, do cool down. So just because of, I don't know, historic training, let's say, I would have been able to get up there pace-wise for a couple of rounds, but because I'd been away for almost 3 weeks, the foundations, the fitness foundations to my rowing had got a bit shaky. And so that's why I would only be able to get through like 2 rounds of it before I'd be completely bust, blown up. So I might have the kind of instantaneous power still just from like body mechanics. Okay, so I could, if I try, get down to like 124 pace, but there's no way I could have held that for 100 meters even. And so that's where the foundation comes from. If you can have a well-built, well-rounded fitness foundation, you can then build everything else on top of that. Your tempo workouts, that kind of rowing at a pace that's hard, that you want to stop but you don't need to stop, they only work if you have the fitness to shore them up. Otherwise, you get a few minutes into it and you're bust and you have to slow right down. And the same with the fast stuff. So anyways, this is what I was saying to Joe. I'm like, the first thing you need to do is just work out where your fitness lies right now and build it back up, either with like rows like this, or just however long you can manage right now, just repeat that. So if you can only manage 25 minutes right now, just do 25-minute rows. And then your fitness will improve, take it up to 30, and then up and up and up. And then you can start to pepper in some of the tempo stuff, work a little bit harder, but do it across intervals. And then you can pepper in one fast workout a week. And that's kind of, to be honest, the cookie cutter approach that nearly all rowing, like online rowing coaches that just put stuff out. This is kind of what it's based around, is that you do a pyramid, the base of your pyramid, say 2 or 3 workouts, say 3, this makes life easier. 3 workouts a week are low intensity, long and slow, fitness building workouts. And then the next level up on your pyramid is your tempo workouts, 2 of them a week. And then the point, the peak of your pyramid, that's the high max intensity stuff. So, and then everything else is then really just how to design those workouts and knowing, kind of programming. This is why just selecting individual workouts doesn't really help as much. What you want is some element of progression through a plan. Like, say 1 week for a tempo workout, I'll do 10 times 3 minutes with 3 minutes rest. And then the next week or the week after, I'll do 12 times 3 minutes with 3 minutes rest. So a couple more intervals. Then the week after that, or whatever, I'll do 12 times 3 with only 2 minutes rest. So that you're constantly kind of taking yourself a little bit further each time. And that's where like coach programming comes in for that stuff. But also, you can't just blindly follow something. You have to know you, and especially, like I say, Joe's in the 70 to 74 category. So I was going to say to him, this is what I normally suggest to people, but you know your body, you know the limitations, you know what you've been through. He didn't really say what his medical conditions were. So maybe he'd had a heart attack or something, in which case possibly doing the top tier stuff is not the best of ideas. So everything I make here is just kind of put out there with you having the knowledge that you do these with the kind of the overall disclaimer that you know you. If you're unsure whether you're fit enough to do the workout, either don't do it and see your doctor, or if something feels weird, you stop and you kind of go, oh. So anyway, right, let's get into some hamstring stretching. I've got my feet are still on the foot plates, straps are loose, flick my toes back against those straps. I'll then reset that posture, get those hips up and tilted forward slightly, hands in the air, and then keep tilting those hips forwards to get that stretch down into the hamstrings, keeping the legs down and straight. So anyway, so that's kind of how you can, like, this workout is not a throwaway just because it's easy. And like low intensity doesn't mean it's meaningless. It's actually, like I keep on saying, since I've been doing this in December, these are probably the most important workouts. Not just because they're built like helping with my foundation fitness and whatever, but they also kind of, there's the routine and the regularity and the fact that they fill in so many gaps that, like, let's put one leg up on the rail. We're going to move on to glutes. One leg up on the rail, bring the other foot up and over so that your heel's on the outside of your knee. The knee that's up in the air, bring that across your body so you have a straight line between your face, knee, foot and monitor. Hold it in place with your opposite arm. Rotate your upper body round. Hold on to, just tap onto the back of the machine to make sure you've got that rotation. So say there's a day, because like I said, usually I do my rowing over lunch, and there's the odd occasion where, like, work-wise, I'm not in the mental state to go out and do a row. I'm so busy. what I need to do is just kind of like step away from my edit suite, maybe like just go for a walk or sit in the garden or just have a sandwich and get back to it, all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of miss the main workout that day. It doesn't happen that often, but it can happen. But because I do this workout in the morning, it's like it stirred my bolognese sauce. It's kind of kept me going through it. The routine of coming back every single day, I hear, let's change legs. So foot up, then other foot comes over the outside of the knee that's in the air, straight line between face, knee, foot, monitor. And then hold on to that knee and then onto the backside. I'll just rotate round onto the back of the machine. Sorry. Every now and then, someone will kind of post something either on RowAlong or they'll email me or it'll be on one of the other groups or whatever. And they'll basically just say, I've fallen out of love with rowing. Which is, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does happen. But I think a lot of the times that can happen because you ask too much of yourself for every single session. That everything must be a performance, that everything must be perfection, that you never take it easy on yourself. It's always just like, this is a full-on 2K session or whatever. Or the other side to that is that you don't really have a routine kind of put in. It's just like you'll be like, I'll go do a row now and whatever. And so this is where, again, this workout really excels, because if you can get into the routine, like I'm lucky in that I wake up before everybody else in the house. So I've just moved on to quads. I'm standing up next to the machine, rested one hand on the monitor for stability. And then I kind of put one knee up in front of me, grab onto the ankle, pull the heel behind me so it's touching my backside. I'm lucky in that I get up before everybody else at home. And so I kind of tiptoe downstairs, make myself a coffee, check my emails, and then I wander out here before anyone else I'm gonna fall. I thought I could hold that one. Before anybody else has, let's change legs, woken up and start to demand things of me. And so I can come out here and I get this, every morning I get this kind of 45 minutes to myself to do this. And so it's become, and even to the point that they now know this is what happens, that I'm out rowing at this time in the morning. So it's become the routine that I do. I'm very lucky that way. And so it's now a habit that I can get out here in routine. I sit down, I fire up the computer, hit record, start talking technique, and then 25 minutes later, the row is finished. And so there's no room for me to get bored by this, because let's move on to hip flexors. So I've got one foot in front of me, one knee behind me, for the knee behind me, foot, the toes on the ground, heels up in the air, 90-degree angles on both. Lean back very slightly, just kind of breathe in, reset that posture. That's enough to engage my hip flexor. Then open up that back leg's angle by sending my upper body forwards without really changing that angle of my upper body. And that gives me the stretch into the hip flexor. And also because it's an easy row that's not asking. It's not like I'm like, how do I hit 152 pace for another minute? I'm never going to manage it. I'm literally just kind of going, right, what does my body want to do today? And sometimes it wants to do 215 pace. Sometimes it wants to do 205 pace. I just let it. There's this zero pressure workout. So there's nothing, like I said in the intro, there's nothing to dislike about this row. The hardest part of this, as far as you're concerned, is listening to me and putting up with my chat. And I know that I know that the vast majority, I'd say 80% of the stuff that I talk about through here is technique, right? Which is kind of going against the whole no pressure thing. But A, it gives me something to talk about. But B, even if you're not engaged totally in the row, technique's still vital. So anyway, right, let's change legs, same thing, and then open up that back leg. And then just by coming into the routine every day, it just becomes become part of my life, where it's just something that I do. And so these ones, I'm always like, all right, okay, off I go. And I find myself just sitting here again. Oh, am I here? Oh, all right. Making another workout. And the only time I've ever kind of thought, do I want to keep on making these? It's purely just because it's like, I know I talk about a lot of the same stuff, but listen, if I've been doing this for 8 months, say it's 8 times 4 for 4 weeks, that's what, 32, 5 days, 150. So say 160 of these I've made, right? And they do last round about 45 minutes each. That's a lot of hours to be talking for, to be doing monologues for. And so it's understandable that sometimes I'm kind of like, what am I going to talk about leaving today? I was like, what am I going to talk about today? So hands out to the side. I need to get more fitted t-shirts, don't I? This looks as though I'm a jellyfish. Anyway, clap your hands in front of you and bend your elbows, bring your fingers up to your face. Push your hands together, bring them down in front of you, and then reset your shoulder height and keep pushing those hands together to get good stretch into your wrists and forearms. Yeah, and so if you get like just making these a core part of your training is, like I've said several times, you're better to do these 5 easy rows on weekdays, like every week, than you are to just do 2 monster mash workouts. Don't let all these people kind of say, oh, you can just do 1 HIIT workout a day. Oh, sorry, 1 HIIT workout a week, and that's all you got to do for training. Pay me $9.99 every 4 minutes to do my session. All these people, they're just trying to sell, like everyone. If someone's selling you the quick fix, then they want to make money. All right. So this session is incredibly useful. Okay, this session will get you fitter, but I'm telling you, this rowing like this will get. How am I going here? Right, this session alone will not get you fitter. Right, so where's it going with this? Let's move on to shoulders. Hands straight out in front of you. Turn it upside down. Bring it across your body. Use your other arm to bring it all the way across your body, and then relax, and then help it. It's part of the wider view. This session on its own, there'll be like a tiny little fitness element, but coming back to if you were just to come back for a month and do these every morning, you would notice the difference in fitness. It's not about the single session. So that's what I'm saying, is that this is a vital series of workouts to do, but it takes time to get there. You can't, I think it was only a couple of weeks ago I said this, so apologies for repeating already, but you can take a GLP-1 pill and it helps with weight loss. You can take testosterone replacement and it will help with various kind of elements of that. There's various quick fix pills that you can take that are perfectly, they're out there. So yeah, whatever. But when it comes to fitness and performance and that kind of general well-being stuff, there isn't really a shortcut to it. Hand straight out in front of you, turn upside down, bring across your body, stretch that shoulder. Because trust me, if there was, I'd be paying for it. I mean, what was it? Valerian root. I had to buy oil for the car. It's the thing about driving an automatic. It guzzles up oil like nothing. Like, I think like at least once a year I have to top up manually myself, have to top up the oil, and then it goes in for service as well, where it gets an oil change. It's like 2 top ups it gets a year. Anyway, at least, I think possibly 3. So I was on Amazon, because I thought I need it quick and I don't have time to go to a good garage. And while I was there, I was trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, oh God, I don't really, because the melatonin stuff that I bought in Italy does nothing. It doesn't touch the sides. And I'm like, what else is there? So I kind of sort of sleep aids and I look at Nitol and it's quite druggy. But there's the CAMS stuff. There's valerian root, and it was on sale. It's like a month's worth of it for $5. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's give it a try, see what that does. So I'm kind of hoping that a magic pill will help me sleep better. It's not as much. It does take me I do lie there for about 10 minutes, just lying there going, will I fall asleep? And I could tell myself a little story. Last night, it was that I was Batman. As soon as I just dawned on me, yeah, that I was Batman. And like real, I was going to go through Glasgow and solving crimes and whatever. Very exciting. They're filming the next Batman movie in Glasgow right now, so maybe it's not that far away. Anyways, I'm just telling them, and then I think that kind of like triggers your alpha waves or beta waves, whatever it is, to fall asleep. So anyway, so like, but then just through the night, I have such an unsettled sleep. I wake up every couple of hours, and then back to sleep again. And I've not slept soundly through the night for a long time. I think on holiday, possibly, did I? No, I'd still wake up. I didn't have to wake up for a pee. But weirdly now I'm home, I have to wake up for peas again. It's obviously something to do with coffee. Must be that. Anyway, right, sorry, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna go. So it is, like I said, it's Friday. So woohoo! Spaghetti bolognese night tonight. Yay! Although Julie and Jamie, my wife and my eldest, they're off to London to see The Weeknd. Apparently there were too many E's in The Weeknd's name, so he had to drop one. Maybe he was paying for maybe they're like, oh, we charge you per letter, and he's like, well, there's 3 E's. That's a lot of E's. Can I drop one of them? And they're like, ooh, what one do you want to drop? And at first he said the first one. And then they said, oh, but then what's a weekend? And he said, okay, well, how about the second one? And they're like, well, that's still a weekend. That's like, I remember with tennis once, my solution to make tennis more watchable, okay, is to remove the first serve. But that doesn't really make much sense. What you need to remove is the second serve. But it's the first one's the problematic one, because that's like the ace, and you're like, oh, very good. Right, have a rally. I want to watch a rally. It's great. It's awesome watching these guys. Ace, ace. It's incredible power. Wow. But eventually it gets boring. What you want to see is like the days of like Borg and McEnroe having a proper slug out on the, and then it's like they're wearing each other down, and then one of them comes into the net and hits the winner. That's the tennis you want to see, not a walk to the other side. Walk to the other side. It's boring. So you take out the second serve, and they don't have the safety of having that power one, and then they have to land it a little bit slower, and then a rally starts. That's my solution. But yeah, that's like removing the first or second E from weekend. But yeah, so apparently he felt 3 E's in the weekend were way too many E's, so he dropped the last one, weekend. Anyway, so they're off there. So it's me and Holly for the weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. Have to work out how we can entertain each other tomorrow. I'm desperate to get her on a rowing machine. She was talking about this on holiday, how she wants to get into rowing. And I'm like, right, okay, well, I'll make a video with you in the rowing machine, and I'll talk you through the rowing stroke, and we'll make a video out of it. And she's like, yeah, now we're home. She's like, I think she obviously wanted something. She's trying to butter me up. She's like, if I say to Daddy that I'm going to enjoy rowing, maybe he'll buy me something. See this little finger? That's Holly wrapped all the way around it. Right, so I'm done. I will, I will currently maneuvers. So because I'm still carrying this cold, I'm not doing a my row workout, community row or anything tomorrow. I might do some gentle working out, like exercise, just to see how my body feels. That was not the noise for exercise, I apologise. And then Sunday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, again, because of the hiccup with Exer, we've had 3 9 o'clock in the morning rows for the community row. But there is going to be another one 9 o'clock in the morning on the Exer app, and also live streamed up here to YouTube. Okay, so 9 o'clock in the morning, UK time, so that's GMT +1. And then I'll see you on Monday for more RowAlong daily workouts. Of course, if you're doing this in a different order, then that doesn't really matter, but just in case you're interested. All right, so, and then I have to make a couple of review videos and stuff, and busy weekend ahead. I hope you have a good weekend ahead yourself. Hopefully, if the sun's out, you're being careful putting on sun cream and stuff, and yeah, and hopefully you're enjoying, if you have it. I mean, it's raining today in Glasgow again. Of course it is. Always rains in Scotland. So, have a fantastic weekend. I will see you in the next workout. Until then, make sure and have something to eat, something to drink. Tell someone you love them. Have a shower, maybe in a different order. And yeah, I'll see you in the next workout. Until then, row well, be well. Bye.